If you are pursuing your PhD or planning to pursue one, then I'm going to share top three things that worked for me during my PhD. And some of these practices I'm continuing even now as an early career academic. And so these are things I would recommend you to adopt at the earliest. I'm Dr. Sukriti Sekhri. I have completed my PhD in marketing from IIM Ahmedabad, and now I am assistant professor at SPJ IMR Mumbai. My tip number one is to create an inspiration notebook. So this doesn't have to be a physical notebook. It can be a Google Doc, which is what I did. But the idea here is that whenever we are working, we are reading some research paper, we are attending a colleague's presentation, or have gone to some conference, some idea strikes. And we are excited by some prospect of a new research question or exploring a potential area, right? But at the time, we may not have the bandwidth. Perhaps we are already busy with two, three courses or working on a term paper or projects or developing our thesis. And so we don't have the bandwidth to sit and actually work on that idea. The inspiration notebook comes in handy then, where we can just jot down the idea as it strikes. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be a rough form of just noting down some thought that occurs, or perhaps the area of research that we want to later check in on. For instance, when a call for papers comes, or there is some conference invite, or you want to collaborate with a new co-author, you can just pull out that diary or your ideas from the Google document and refer to it and pick up where you left off. So it's a very good idea to keep track of such thoughts that come to you, research ideas that come to you throughout the PhD journey. So I have been maintaining a Google Doc since my first year, and I still keep adding to it to this day whenever some new idea or inspiration strikes. And if you observe over the years, you will also find broad research themes or areas which you are drawn towards. So that helps to define, the area of work that you're gravitating towards, which can help build your portfolio or academic CV over the years. Tip number two is to keep a good peer network available. So this includes not just batchmates, but also seniors, also sometimes juniors. The idea is to have a network of support, because these are the people who are going through the exact same journey as you are. Of course, their topics might be different, their experience with their advisors might be different, but there's nobody else who will be better able to understand the journey as they do, right? So it's good to have an open channel of communication with batchmates and with seniors, juniors. It's at difficult times when one feels stuck that you can really count on their support. So it may not be just for academics, but even when one is feeling stuck, or perhaps that we're not making headway in our PhD and we just want some company, then these are the people who are really there for you. So it's nice to have that sort of two-way channel open, and to be able to perhaps share some of your vulnerabilities or your fears or insecurities with somebody in the same journey. So it is nice to identify people around you who are your support system, and also be there for them as support. So I think a PhD journey doesn't necessarily have to be as solitary as people claim it to be, right? And my third biggest tip would be to have a channel open with oneself. So this means taking out time for some personal reflection. Now, a PhD is not just a degree. It is very much something that continues for a long period of time. It defines us as a person. It helps to develop our qualities and skills and knowledge of ourselves. So it's a good idea to sit down, to take some time out, pause, reflect. I'm not saying it's something that has to be done daily. It could be something that one picks up as an exercise over a few months, or maybe even year on year, but just to reflect how one has changed and grown and developed, and which directions one is tending towards over the course of this PhD journey. Looking back helps to pave the way forward as well. And it's quite interesting and nice to see how our thoughts change, the way that we think changes, evolves, gets better, not just in academics again, but as human beings, as persons. So it's a nice idea to keep track of this now, whether one does it in written form or recording videos of milestones or what one considers milestones. That part I leave up to you. But I think this personal reflection throughout the journey is something that really helps to make it much more personally rewarding and fulfilling. So these were my top 3 tips as a PhD student to make the most of your experience, and I wish you all the very best.